This front nasal final is ying, ying. It's kind of like the in seen. And when it's not preceded by any consonant, it's pronounced as ying and spelled as Y-I-N. And with an initial, it's just the initial followed by I-N. So let's practice this with a couple of different initials. Xi ying xing, xi ying xing. Pinyin ping, pinyin ping. This front nasal final is yin, yin. What you can do is start with the E sound slowly and then get into an, yin. Another way to think about it is first say ye, which we learned already, and then tack on a n sound at the very end. So it becomes yin. See that? It's pretty easy, right? Okay, with an initial, it's spelled as initial followed by I-A-N, and without an initial, it's spelled as Y-A-N. And you should probably remember this as a general rule for most finals that begin with I. So now let's practice with some initials. Qi yin qian, qi yin qian, pinyin pian, pinyin pian. This front nasal final is yun, yun. It's essentially the U sound coupled with N. So when there is no initial preceding it, we write it as Y-U-N. And with an initial, it's just the initial and UN. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there are only 3 initials that can pair with this final. Ji, Qi, Xi. Another note is that when you're writing this out in Pinyin, you do not need to put the 2 little dots over the U, because by default, if you wrote a word with this final, it would either be Ji plus UN or Qi plus UN or Xi plus UN, and everybody knows that it should be pronounced as Yun. Okay, let's practice with some initials. Ji Yun Jun, Ji Yun Jun, Qi Yun Chun, Qi Yun Chun, Xi Yun Xun, Xi Yun Xun. This next front nasal final is an extension of the previous one that we just learned. It also begins with U, and then it gets followed by an, yuan, yuan. In fact, it sounds a little bit more like U followed by yin, which we've learned before. Yuan. Now, when it's not preceded by an initial, it's spelled as Y-U-A-N. And just like the previous one we looked at, this final can only pair with Ji, Qi, and Xi. Again, if you're writing it out in Pinyin, remember you do not need to put the 2 little dots over the U. Now let's practice with some initials. Ji Yuan Juan, Ji Yuan Juan, Qi Yuan Quan, Qi Yuan Quan, Xi Yuan Xuan, Xi Yuan Xuan. Now it's time to review. Let's read these one by one. Yin, yin, yun, yuan. Good. Now let's read them all together at once. Ying, yin, yun, yuan. Great job.